Hello again, my wonderful friends. Please come on in, settle down, and get comfortable for our little chat today. Let's talk about something familiar, something many of us probably do almost every morning. Having a nice warm bowl of oatmeal. It feels like such a sensible, comforting choice to start the day, doesn't it? We picture it as wholesome, nourishing, the kind of breakfast our mothers or grandmothers might have recommended. You stand there in the quiet morning kitchen, carefully, measuring out the oats, adding water or perhaps a splash of milk, watching it gently bubble on the stove or whir around in the microwave. Maybe you slice a banana on top or sprinkle on some raisins, feeling quite pleased with your healthy intentions. You sit down, perhaps by the window, and enjoy that warm, familiar texture. It feels good, satisfying in the moment. But then, what often happens just a couple of hours later? Maybe around 10 o'clock or perhaps closer to 11, just when you're hoping to get a few things done. Does that unmistakable rumble start deep in your tummy, signaling hunger far sooner than you expected? Or maybe it's not outright hunger, but a sudden wave of tiredness washes over you. You find yourself feeling surprisingly sluggish. Maybe your concentration wanders, and the thought of heading to the kitchen for a little pick-me-up, perhaps a cookie or a handful of crackers, becomes incredibly tempting just to bridge that gap until lunchtime. It can be genuinely puzzling, can't it? And more than puzzling, it can be downright frustrating. You consciously made what you believed was a healthy, responsible choice for breakfast, something designed to give you steady energy. Yet here you are, feeling depleted, maybe even a little shaky long before noon. It almost feels like that comforting bowl of oatmeal somehow let you down, didn't deliver on its promise of sustained fuel. It can make you question yourself. Did I not eat enough? Am I just getting older and need less energy? Or perhaps you even start to wonder, is oatmeal really the great breakfast champion everyone claims it is? Maybe it's just not working for me anymore. That feeling of your energy fizzling out can be quite disheartening, especially when you have plans for the day. Maybe some gentle gardening, meeting a friend for a walk, tackling a crossword puzzle, or simply having the get up and go to manage your errands without feeling wiped out afterwards. Well, lean in a little closer, my friends, because what if I were to suggest very gently that maybe the oatmeal itself isn't the problem? What if the issue lies in a few tiny, almost invisible details in how we prepare and eat it? What if there are some remarkably simple adjustments, little secrets really, that we could make to transform that very same bowl of oatmeal from a short-lived energy source into a true, long-lasting powerhouse that supports you beautifully through the morning? Nothing complicated, I promise. No fancy ingredients required. Just some easy little tweaks that might make a world of difference to how you feel. Are you curious to hear more? I certainly hope so. Stick with me just a little while longer, because we're going to gently uncover some easy ways to help your oatmeal work much, much better for you. If this scenario, this feeling of that mid-morning slump after your oatmeal, sounds all too familiar from your own mornings, please do drop a comment below. I truly would love to hear about your experiences. And if you enjoy these kinds of chats, perhaps consider clicking that subscribe button and sticking around for this simple fix that just might help make your mornings feel brighter and more energized. Now hold on just a second there. I can almost hear a few gentle chuckles or perhaps even a slightly skeptical thought bubbling up. Eating oatmeal wrong? My goodness, that sounds rather dramatic, doesn't it? I've been making oatmeal the same way for years. And you know what? You are absolutely right to think that. It does sound a bit bold, perhaps even a little accusatory, and that is the very last thing I intend. Let me immediately reassure you, with all sincerity, this conversation is absolutely not about making anyone feel guilty or suggesting that oatmeal itself is a bad choice. Goodness gracious, no. Oatmeal in its pure form is a truly wonderful food, packed with fiber, comforting, versatile, and genuinely good for us in many ways. Think of this chat more like sharing some friendly insider tips, like learning a slightly better way to tune your favorite musical instrument, so it sounds even richer and stays in tune longer, or perhaps discovering a simple technique that helps your car run more smoothly and efficiently on the same amount of fuel. We're not saying the instrument or the car was wrong before, just that we've found ways to unlock its full potential, to make it perform even better. And that's precisely what we want to do with our humble bowl of oatmeal today. Especially as we navigate our golden years, our bodies truly appreciate getting steady, reliable energy. Maintaining stable blood sugar levels becomes even more important, helping us avoid those energy dips that can affect our mood, our concentration, and our ability to stay active and independent. So, in our cozy little discussion today, we're going to gently explore 3 specific, very simple science-inspired strategies to elevate your morning oatmeal. We'll look at how adding one type of nutrient can provide lasting power, how incorporating certain other elements can enhance satisfaction, and how avoiding one common pitfall can prevent that energy crash. These aren't complicated culinary feats requiring special gadgets or expensive, hard-to-find ingredients. They are easy, accessible little adjustments anyone can make, using things likely already in your pantry or readily available at any grocery store. And because a little extra treat is always nice, I've tucked away a fun, slightly unexpected surprise bonus tip towards the end, something that might just change how you think about oats entirely. To bring it all together and hopefully inspire you, I'll also share a genuinely uplifting true story about someone just like us, someone who was facing that frustrating morning slump and found a remarkable improvement by making one small, simple change to their breakfast routine. It's a story that really highlights how these little tweaks can ripple outwards, improving not just energy levels but overall enjoyment of life. So, please, take a deep breath, relax. Have you got that cup of tea or coffee nearby? Maybe adjust your cushion. Put your feet up if you like. Let's settle in for a friendly, informative chat. Let's explore together how we can make our beloved oatmeal work even harder for us, turning it into the truly amazing, energizing breakfast it has the potential to be. Ready to discover these simple secrets? Let's begin. All right, let's unveil our first simple secret, the first key to unlocking that sustained energy from your oatmeal bowl. It comes down to one crucial element: adding protein power. Here's the thing that often gets overlooked. Traditional oatmeal, while absolutely fantastic for its high fiber content, especially that heart-healthy soluble fiber called beta-glucan, is primarily composed of carbohydrates. Now, carbohydrates are our body's preferred source for quick energy, which is great when you need an immediate boost. However, when eaten largely on their own, particularly the kinds found in more processed oats or when paired with sugary toppings, these carbohydrates can be digested and absorbed rather quickly. Think of it like building a fire. If you start your fire using only paper and very small dry twigs representing the carbs in plain oatmeal, the fire will flare up brightly and quickly, giving off a burst of heat. But just as quickly it will burn itself out, leaving you with embers and needing more fuel soon after. That's very similar to the energy spike and subsequent crash you might feel after a carb-heavy breakfast. What we want is to create a fire that burns steadily and lasts much longer, providing consistent warmth and energy. How do we do that with our fire? We add bigger, denser pieces of wood, the logs. In our oatmeal analogy, protein acts like those slower burning logs. Protein takes significantly longer for our bodies to digest compared to carbohydrates. When you include a good source of protein in your oatmeal, it effectively slows down the entire digestive process. This means the sugars from the oatmeal carbohydrates are released into your bloodstream much more gradually, preventing that sharp spike in blood sugar and the inevitable crash that follows. Instead, you get a smoother, more sustained release of energy that can keep you feeling satisfied and alert for hours. It's like turning that quick flare-up into a steady, reliable glow. This isn't just theory. Nutritional science has long confirmed this. Researchers consistently find that combining protein with carbohydrates at a meal significantly increases satiety, that pleasant feeling of fullness and satisfaction, and leads to more stable blood sugar levels and prolonged energy compared to eating carbohydrates alone. This is particularly beneficial for seniors, as maintaining muscle mass, which protein is essential for, and managing blood sugar are key aspects of healthy aging. So, how can we easily incorporate this protein power into our morning routine? Without fuss? It's wonderfully simple. You could stir in a tablespoon or 2 of chopped nuts. Think almonds, walnuts, pecans. They add protein, healthy fats, and a lovely crunch. Seeds are another fantastic option. Chia seeds, hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, or ground flax seeds. Grinding flax helps your body access its nutrients better. Just a spoonful makes a difference. Another easy win? A generous dollop of plain Greek, yogurt stirred in right at the end, adds creaminess and a significant protein boost. Some people find adding a scoop of plain, unsweetened protein powder, whey, casein, or plant-based options, works well for them. You could even try stirring in a whisked egg white or two during the last minute of cooking. It disappears into the oats but adds pure protein. A very practical first step. Tomorrow morning, simply try adding 1 level tablespoon of chopped almonds or sunflower seeds to your usual bowl. See if you notice a difference in how long you feel full. Of course, please be mindful of any allergies. If nuts are an issue, seeds or yogurt are excellent alternatives. And it bears repeating. If you have specific health conditions, particularly kidney issues where protein intake might need careful management, or other dietary restrictions, having a quick conversation with your doctor or a registered dietitian is always the smartest course of action before making changes. They can help you personalize these suggestions safely. But for most of us, this simple protein boost is a game changer for oatmeal satisfaction. Let's move on to our second gentle adjustment, another way to elevate your oatmeal from good to truly great. This one involves enhancing 2 elements that work beautifully together, focusing on fiber and healthy fats. Now, I can almost hear you saying, but wait a minute, you just said oatmeal is already high in fiber. And you are absolutely 100% correct. Oats are rightfully celebrated for their fiber content, especially that wonderful soluble fiber called beta-glucan, which does marvelous things like helping to lower cholesterol and keeping our digestion running smoothly. It's one of the primary reasons oatmeal is considered such a heart-healthy choice. However, we can actually amplify these benefits and significantly increase the staying power of our breakfast by strategically adding more fiber from diverse sources alongside a serving of healthy unsaturated fats. Why this combination? Because fiber, much like protein, slows down digestion and promotes that feeling of fullness. Different types of fiber work in slightly different ways. Soluble fiber forms a gel-like substance, while insoluble fiber adds bulk, and getting a good mix is ideal for overall digestive health. Think of it like ensuring your internal plumbing is working perfectly, keeping everything moving along smoothly and preventing backups. Healthy fats, often unfairly demonized in the past, are now understood to be absolutely crucial for our well-being. They play vital roles in hormone production, brain health, and perhaps most importantly for our discussion today, they are incredibly effective at promoting satiety. Fats digest even more slowly than protein and carbohydrates, sending strong signals to our brain that we are full and satisfied. They also help our bodies absorb essential fat-soluble vitamins, like A, D, E, and K from our food. So combining extra fiber with healthy fats in your oatmeal is like building a truly robust, multi-layered foundation for your morning energy. It transforms a simple grain bowl into a more complete, balanced, and deeply satisfying meal. Think about building a delicious, satisfying sandwich. You wouldn't just use 2 slices of plain bread, would you? You'd add crisp lettuce, fiber, maybe some tomato, and perhaps a spread of avocado or mayonnaise, healthy fats, to make it truly enjoyable and filling. We're doing the same thing with our oatmeal, layering in components that make it more nourishing and longer lasting. This isn't some radical new idea either. If you look at traditional ways porridge was consumed around the world, people instinctively added ingredients like berries, fiber, antioxidants, nuts and seeds, fiber, fat, protein, or even a drizzle of cream, fat, to make it more substantial. They knew it kept them going longer. So, what are some delightfully easy ways to weave more fiber and healthy fats into your morning bowl? Berries are superstars here. Blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, strawberries, either fresh or frozen, are packed with fiber and beneficial plant compounds. Seeds like chia, flax, and hemp seeds are triple threats offering fiber, healthy omega-3 fats, and protein. A tablespoon of ground flaxseed or chia seeds stirred in is fantastic. How about a sprinkle of unsweetened, shredded coconut or coconut flakes for texture and healthy medium-chain fats? Nuts, as mentioned, for protein, also provide excellent healthy fats and fiber. Walnuts are particularly rich in omega-3s. And don't forget about nut butters. A spoonful of natural almond butter, peanut butter, or cashew butter stirred into warm oatmeal adds creaminess, flavor, healthy fats, and fiber. Choose brands with minimal added sugar or salt. Even a few slices of creamy avocado on top, especially if you try the savory route we'll discuss later, adds wonderful healthy fats. A simple, actionable step to try? Tomorrow, add a small handful, maybe a quarter cup, of mixed berries and 1 teaspoon of chia seeds to your oatmeal. Notice the added texture and flavor. For an extra layer of warmth and gentle benefit, a dash of cinnamon or a pinch of nutmeg not only tastes lovely, but also has antioxidant properties and can help with blood sugar balance. It's all about making that bowl more complex, more satisfying, and ultimately, more energizing. Now we arrive at our third, and arguably one of the most impactful adjustments we can make to truly optimize our morning oatmeal. Learning to sidestep the sugar trap. This, my friends, is where many of us, with the very best intentions, might be unintentionally sabotaging the wonderful health benefits and sustained energy potential of our oatmeal breakfast. Let's talk honestly about those convenient single-serving flavored oatmeal packets. They seem like such a time saver, don't they? Just add hot water, stir, and breakfast is ready. However, if you take a closer look at the ingredients list on many of these packets, flavors like maple and brown sugar, apples and cinnamon, peaches and cream, you'll often find that added sugar is one of the main ingredients, sometimes listed second only after the oats themselves. They can contain multiple teaspoons of added sugar per small serving, along with artificial flavors, colors, and sometimes a surprising amount of sodium. Even if you diligently start with plain, unadulterated oats, which is fantastic, the trouble can sneak in with the toppings, piling on spoonfuls of brown sugar, liberally drizzling maple syrup or honey, or adding large amounts of sweetened, dried fruit, like cranberries or raisins, which are often coated in extra sugar, can very quickly transform your wholesome bowl into something that functionally resembles a morning dessert. You might be thinking, but plain oatmeal tastes so bland. I need something to make it palatable. I hear you, I truly do. But here's the crucial connection we need to understand. Loading up your oatmeal with concentrated sugars, whether from packets or added toppings, causes a rapid surge in your blood sugar levels. Your body responds by releasing a flood of insulin to manage this sugar rush. What happens next? That swift insulin response often leads to an equally rapid drop in blood sugar shortly afterward, the dreaded sugar crash. This crash is precisely what leaves you feeling tired, shaky, irritable, maybe even craving more sugar just an hour or two later. It completely negates the wonderful slow-release energy benefits that the complex carbohydrates and fiber in the oats themselves are supposed to provide. It's like taking that beautifully constructed slow-burning fire we built with protein and fiber, and suddenly dousing it with highly flammable gasoline, the sugar. You get a big, brief flare-up followed by nothing. It burns out quickly and leaves you feeling depleted. Think of the difference between sipping on a cool, clear glass of water that hydrates and refreshes you steadily, representing plain oatmeal with healthy, unsweetened additions, versus chugging a sugary soda that gives you an instant artificial buzz followed swiftly by a slump and thirst, representing oatmeal overloaded with sweeteners. One choice sustains and nourishes, the other offers a fleeting high followed by a definite low. The perhaps unexpected yet profound benefit of consciously reducing added sugar in your oatmeal goes far beyond just avoiding the immediate energy crash. It contributes significantly to better overall blood sugar management throughout the day, which is incredibly important for long-term health, reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes, supporting cardiovascular health, managing weight, stabilizing mood, and even potentially reducing inflammation in the body. So what's the minimal effort, maximum impact step here? Always start with plain oats. Old-fashioned rolled oats or steel-cut oats offer the best texture and slowest energy release. Instant oats are more processed and digest faster. Then get creative with natural sources of sweetness and flavor. Try mashing half a ripe banana into the oats while they cook. It adds creaminess and gentle sweetness. Rely heavily on fresh or frozen fruits like berries, peaches, or chopped apples. Spices are your best friends. Cinnamon, nutmeg, cardamom, cloves, vanilla extract, or even a little orange zest can add incredible dimension and perceived sweetness without any sugar. If, after adding fruit and spices, you still feel you need just a touch more sweetness, be incredibly mindful. Use just a tiny amount, perhaps half a teaspoon, measured, of pure maple syrup, honey, or blackstrap molasses. The goal is to gradually retrain your taste buds to appreciate the naturally nutty, earthy flavor of the oats and the subtle sweetness provided by whole fruits. It might take a little adjustment, but your energy levels and overall health will thank you profoundly. Read labels diligently. Resist the automatic reach for the sugar bowl and embrace the delicious possibilities of naturally flavored oatmeal. Okay, now it's time for that little surprise I promised, a bonus tip that might initially make you tilt your head and say, really? But I encourage you to keep an open mind, because this one can be a delightful game changer. Our surprise. Bonus is, dare to go savory. Yes, savory oatmeal. Whoever decreed that oatmeal must always be a sweet affair, relegated to the realm of fruits and syrups. In many cultures around the world, oats and other whole grains are commonly enjoyed as hearty, savory porridges or bases for substantial meals, much like rice, quinoa, or grits. Think about it for a moment. Plain, unadulterated oatmeal possesses a wonderfully mild, nutty, slightly earthy flavor profile. It's essentially a blank canvas, much like pasta or potatoes, ready and willing to absorb and complement a whole world of savory flavors. Instead of automatically reaching for the cinnamon and berries, imagine that warm, creamy bowl of oatmeal swirled with a drizzle of good quality olive oil, a sprinkle of sea salt, and freshly cracked black pepper. Perhaps you could stir in some gently sautéed spinach or kale until it wilts, adding vibrant color and nutrients. Or top it with some savory sautéed mushrooms and onions. How about crumbling in a little feta or goat cheese, or grating some sharp cheddar or parmesan over the top just before serving? And for a fantastic protein boost that fits perfectly, consider crowning your savory oatmeal with a perfectly soft-boiled, poached or fried egg. Letting that lovely golden yolk run into the creamy oats is pure comfort. Does it sound a bit unusual at first hearing? Perhaps. Our taste expectations for breakfast can be quite ingrained, but I assure you, it can be incredibly delicious, deeply satisfying, and wonderfully nourishing. It feels less like a typical breakfast cereal and more like a proper, hearty, warming meal, perfect for a chilly morning or any time you want something truly substantial. You still reap all the fantastic benefits of the whole grain oats, the fiber, the slow-release energy, but you also gain additional vitamins, minerals, and often protein from the savory additions like vegetables, cheese, or eggs. Plus, by going savory, you entirely sidestep the potential pitfalls of added sugars that we just discussed. My good friend David, who I mentioned earlier, was extremely skeptical when I first floated this idea. He's a traditionalist when it comes to breakfast, but he was complaining about always being hungry mid-morning, so I nudged him to try it just once. He cooked his rolled oats simply with water and a pinch of salt. Right at the very end, off the heat, he stirred in a small handful of grated sharp cheddar cheese and a good grind of black pepper. He called me later that day, completely converted. He said, it was amazing. It tasted like a really healthy, creamy version of cheese grits. And the best part? I wasn't hungry again until well past lunchtime. It just felt more substantial and kept him going. So, I invite you to be a little adventurous one morning this week. Try cooking your oats in vegetable or chicken broth instead of water for an instant savory flavor base. Stir in some fresh herbs like chopped chives, parsley, or thyme. Add some leftover cooked vegetables or even a little shredded chicken. Think outside the breakfast box. You might just discover your new favorite way to enjoy this incredibly versatile and healthy grain. It's a fantastic way to get some vegetables into your first meal of the day, too. Now, as we often do in our chats, I'd love to share a real story with you. It's about a lovely gentleman named George, a bright-eyed 75-year-old retiree who had moved down to sunny Florida to enjoy his golden years. George wasn't one for sitting idle. His absolute pride and joy was his garden. He had mango trees, hibiscus bushes bursting with color, rows of tomatoes, and fragrant jasmine climbing over a trellis. His perfect morning involved waking up with the sun, making himself what he thought was a quick and easy breakfast. Usually one of those instant oatmeal packets. The maple and brown sugar flavor was his go-to because it tasted good and was ready in minutes. And then heading straight out into the garden to potter around before the Florida sun became too intense. Digging, planting, weeding, pruning. This was his therapy, his passion, what kept him feeling connected and purposeful. But over the past few months, George had started noticing something troubling, something that cast a shadow over his cherished morning routine. He found he was running out of energy much earlier than he used to. He'd have his oatmeal, around 7 a.m., head outside full of enthusiasm, but by 9:30 or 10 a.m., a wave of fatigue would wash over him. It wasn't just normal tiredness, it was a heavy feeling, sometimes accompanied by a slight shakiness in his hands and a distinct lack of get up and go. He found himself having to stop, pack up his tools, and head back inside, feeling deeply frustrated and a little bit defeated. His gardening sessions became shorter, less productive, and honestly less joyful. He missed that feeling of accomplishment and the simple pleasure of spending hours nurturing his plants. He mentioned this growing frustration to his daughter during one of their regular phone calls, explaining how his energy just seemed to vanish mid-morning. His daughter, thoughtful and caring, had recently come across some information about balancing blood sugar and the importance of protein and fiber at breakfast, perhaps from an article or even a video much like this one. She gently suggested, "Dad, I know you love your instant oatmeal, but those packets often have a lot of sugar. Maybe, just maybe, try switching to plain rolled oats instead, and perhaps add a handful of almonds or some seeds on top. It might just give you more steady energy." George, being a practical man set in his ways, was predictably doubtful. "Plain oats? Nuts?" he grumbled good-naturedly over the phone. "Sounds like bird food. It's just oatmeal, sweetheart. How much difference can a few nuts possibly make to an old fellow like me?" He wasn't convinced it was worth the extra effort, but because he adored his daughter and perhaps, deep down, held on to a sliver of hope that things could improve, he decided to give her suggestion an honest try. The next time he went grocery shopping, he somewhat reluctantly bypassed the familiar flavored packets and picked up a canister of plain old-fashioned rolled oats, a bag of sliced almonds, and some chia seeds she had mentioned. The following morning he measured out the plain oats, cooked them with water, and dutifully topped his bowl with a sprinkle of the almonds and a teaspoon of the tiny black seeds. He skipped the brown sugar he usually added. He took a tentative bite. It was different. Nuttier, certainly less sweet, but surprisingly pleasant, especially with the crunch of the almonds. He finished his bowl and headed out to the garden, not expecting much. He started working on weeding the notoriously stubborn patch around his rose bushes. And then something remarkable happened. Or rather, didn't happen. 10 o'clock came and went, and George realized he was still feeling pretty good. Not bouncing off the walls with energy, but steady, grounded. The usual fatigue and shakiness hadn't materialized. He kept working, moving on to prune the hibiscus hedges, a task that often tired his arms quickly. He worked comfortably, enjoying the morning air, until he glanced at his watch and saw it was nearly 11 o'clock. He had gardened for almost an hour longer than he had been able to manage recently. It wasn't a sudden, dramatic miracle cure, but it was a noticeable, undeniable difference. Over the following weeks, George stuck with his new oatmeal routine. He experimented a bit, sometimes adding fresh blueberries, other times a spoonful of natural peanut butter for extra richness. He consistently found that his energy levels were far more stable throughout the entire morning. He felt more like his old self again, able to fully immerse himself in his beloved garden for longer stretches, enjoying the sunshine, the scent of the earth, and the deep satisfaction of watching things grow. He called his daughter back, a smile evident in his voice. "You know, honey," he admitted sheepishly, "that little change you suggested, well, it made a much bigger difference than this stubborn old skeptic ever thought possible. I feel like I've got my mornings back." He just sounded more vibrant, more engaged, truly enjoying his well-deserved retirement days to the fullest. all thanks to a simple tweak in his breakfast bowl. So my dear friends, we've had a lovely little journey together today, exploring some simple yet potentially powerful ways to transform that familiar bowl of morning oatmeal into an even better friend for our energy and well-being. We've gently uncovered the secret of protein power, learning how adding nuts, seeds, or yogurt can act like slow-burning logs for our internal fire, providing steady, lasting fuel instead of a quick flare-up. We dove into the wonderful synergy of boosting fiber and healthy fats, understanding how elements like berries, chia seeds, or a touch of nut butter can enhance that feeling of fullness and satisfaction, making our breakfast truly complete and nourishing, like building a sturdy, balanced meal. And perhaps most importantly, we talked about navigating and sidestepping the sugar trap, recognizing how choosing plain oats and relying on natural sweetness from fruits and spices, rather than added sugars or relying solely on pre-sweetened packets, can prevent those draining energy crashes and support our overall health in profound ways. Plus, we had our little adventurous detour into the world of savory oatmeal, opening up a whole new realm of delicious and satisfying possibilities. Remembering George's delightful experience in his garden and Maria's rediscovered joy in knitting from our previous chat serves as such a beautiful reminder, doesn't it? It truly reinforces the idea that it's often the small, consistent, seemingly minor adjustments we weave into our daily routines that accumulate over time to make the most significant, positive difference in how we feel, how much energy we have, and how fully we can participate in and enjoy the activities that bring meaning and happiness to our lives. It's not about drastic measures or chasing unattainable perfection, but about finding simple, sustainable, and kind ways to nurture ourselves day by day. With all this in mind, perhaps you might feel a little inspired to conduct your own, gentle, experiment this week. You certainly don't need to implement everything all at once. That might feel overwhelming. Maybe just choose one of the ideas we discussed today that resonated with you. Could you, perhaps tomorrow morning, simply add that tablespoon of chopped walnuts or sunflower seeds to your usual bowl? Or maybe swap out your usual sweetened packet for plain rolled oats and top it with a handful of delicious berries instead. Or, if you're feeling adventurous, maybe try that savory approach with a pinch of salt and pepper. Just make one small change, and then pay gentle attention. Notice how you feel around mid-morning. Do you feel a bit more satisfied? Is your energy level steadier? Does that familiar urge to snack before lunch seem a little less intense? There's no right or wrong answer, just your own experience. And I would be absolutely thrilled, truly delighted, if you felt comfortable sharing your experiences or thoughts in the comments section below this video. Did you try one of the tips? What did you add to your oatmeal? How did it make you feel? Or perhaps you already have your own secret for making oatmeal energizing. Please do share your wisdom. Your insights and stories are so valuable and can inspire and help others in our wonderful community here. And as always, if you found our conversation today helpful, informative, or perhaps just a pleasant way to spend a little bit of your time, would you consider giving this video a little click on the thumbs up or like button? It's a small gesture, but it genuinely helps other folks who might be searching for this kind of information to find our chat more easily. If you haven't already joined our little community by subscribing to the channel, I would be truly honored if you'd consider doing so. That way, you won't miss out on our future conversations, tips, and stories designed to support our well-being together. It helps us stay connected. And please, feel absolutely welcome to share this video with anyone you think might benefit from it or enjoy it. Perhaps a friend who relies on oatmeal but often complains about being hungry soon after. Or a family member looking for simple ways to feel more energized. Sharing helpful information is such a lovely act of kindness. Thank you ever so much from the bottom of my heart for sharing your precious time and your thoughtful attention with me today. It really is a joy and a privilege to connect with you in this way. Please stay warm, be wonderfully kind and gentle with yourselves, and always remember that nurturing your health and happiness can absolutely be achieved through simple, consistent, loving steps. I'm already looking forward to our next chat together very soon. Until then, take excellent care. Bye for now.